are building a rod today. I'll be the first one to tell you I have no idea how to build a rod, but we have Ponch, my dad, Matt, my brother, going to be helping along in this process. Don't know what I'm doing again, so we're just going to try to figure this out together. First thing we got to do is get a rod blank. Luckily, Matt and Ponch picked up a whole bunch of Phoenix blanks from the Fred Hall show in Long Beach, so we have quite a few blanks to choose from. I chose one that we think is a little bit heavier with a slow action tip, so we can use that for big crankbaits and moving baits. Did I mention we're going to try to get this done in one day? We're going to have to clear off our workspace and get ready to go. Ponch's desk has been my desk since we're sheltering in place together. Been painting a few baits, give you guys a preview. All that's got to go. After we have our workspace cleaned off, we got to start shaping our rod handles, because that's what Matt told me to do next before he gets home from work. Matt and I talked about all the dimensions of where we want everything to sit on the rod blank. Because it's a moving crank swim bait rod, I want to be able to fish it out as well as underneath my arm, depending on the cast and the retrieve. And so with that information, we bought all the components, and I have them set out here as they are going to fit onto the rod. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not familiar with all of this. Like, I've fished my whole life, but I haven't paid attention to really what's going on the rods. I went through and I taped everything off where it's going to be sitting. So I gotta go in, I gotta cut all that out to fit right here. And one tip that we can give you is don't fit it to fit this dimension right here. Actually fit it so it fits 1/4 to 1/2 inch up, because once you epoxy it, that's going to be able to slide down a little bit further. I don't want it to be finishing right at that mark. I want it to be finishing a little bit higher up, so when that epoxy's on there, it will slide down right into place. All right, we're here in the garage. We have everything laid out. We have all of our marks made where we want our pieces to finish. Now it's time to use these really cool tools to go ahead and get this diameter to match where it needs to be on the rod. Wish me luck. Okay, something that's been helping me is I'll let it rotate in my hand a little bit as the drill is going in. I think that's helping it stay centered, because we don't want to drill this off-centered, of course. Another issue that I'm gonna have to think through is my biggest bit does not match the diameter. It's not sliding down as far as I need to go. This piece needs to come pretty much all the way to there. So I'm gonna have to do some finesse work with that. Because it's my first time doing it, I'm gonna practice with the other pieces first, try to get that nailed down, and then have to go in and finesse with that bit to get the diameter to match up. Cool. These are all fitted in the same spot. Some quick learnings: if you're using a real seat like this, you make sure it's screwed all the way down tight, because that's your finishing point there. So now I'm going to try to attempt to place the guides. We have the guides ordered. We're using slightly smaller guides than Ponch likes, because we're new school and we like those small guides. So Ponch is going to be a little bit mad about that, but that's okay. I'm just going to try to reference a rod, because I've never, like I said, haven't done this before. So I'm going to find a rod that's similar to this, similar action to this, and try to place them with tape, so when Ponch and Matt get home, we could potentially leave them there, just tweak them. So I did a rough set, see if we can leave them. Not really sure what the process is. Might be break time. First impression.
That looks right. Yeah, that looks right. Oh yeah.
We have Matt, Ponch.
Hello.
Ponch, when did you first start wrapping rods?
I don't know.
Well, what is a spine?
Yeah, so a rod is just, well, now they're like, some of them are carbon fiber and stuff, but before it was just fiberglass, and then they started using graphite. It's just a sheet that's rolled together, and so there's a seam in that. And so when you roll a rod around, it has a spot where it wants to come to rest. Like roll, and it'll bounce, and then it'll find a spot that it likes to be. And that's where your spine is. So yeah, he spined it.
And do you put spine up or spine down?
So you find where it rests, and then according to Mr. Gary Loomis, he calls it, I forget what he calls it, but he would put the spinning rod guides inside of it, like where my left thumb is, and he would put casting rods on the outside of it, and something to do with dampening the rod on a cast. It's very, I mean, he's Gary Loomis, so I'm just going to listen to him. He probably knows what he's talking about, but yeah.
Now the experts are here. Like I told you about 10 times already, that this was my first time wrapping around. I had no idea what I was doing.
So you've been filming all day?
You'll be able to answer some of the questions that I had, as well as tell us all.
Nice.
What's the process now?
We're just learning as we go. Since this butt cap wants to fit over the end of the butt of the rod, then we want to mark how far up the rod it's going to come, so that when you glue this down, you leave a little space for this guy to fit on.
Okay.
Yep. So, just going to do a little white grease pencil action. Let's see if it shows up. Yeah, so that's hard to see, but that's your mark. And then I'll just go around and make it a little darker. These are the little finishing pieces called winding checks. This one is rubber. They get real fancy. They make aluminum ones, all that jazz. But we're just gonna slip it on and see if this is the right size, because we don't really know. So that's gonna fit down like that, and that's gonna go right up against it. So it's gonna glue up all nicey nice like that.
So now
Those bad boys are sweet. I guess I don't need to be holding this quite yet.
And you like using 15-minute versus 5 versus 20. 15 just gives you a little bit longer.
We were doing it with 5, but the last time we tried to do too much. We tried some late game heroics, and it got a little skitsy. A little bit of teamwork on this one.
Okay.
Which way you want me to spin?
Anyway, don't matter.
How important is it that it's even?
Nah,
Not super.
it's gonna all squeeze out.
Yeah, a majority is going to come out the bottom anyways, because of how tight the cork is.
So you're just trying to control where it is up top.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you don't want it coming up top.
And then you want it to be, like, kind of fill everything out in there, so you don't have, like, a
patch with no
bumpy,
epoxy.
cracky thing inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to spin it when I put the grip on, too. Some people get wild and, like, put a ton on and, like, work it up and down and then set it.
Mm.
That's probably plenty.
That should do it.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to spin and work my way down. Ponch is going to pull off a little bit of excess as we go. Is there some there?
A little bit. Not bad, not bad. There you go.
So I'm coming right over that line. That's going to do it.
That's the butt cap line?
Yep. And then we want to put a little bit on this front edge. Probably with a toothpick punch.
Yep.
Beauty. Another drop.
Okay, looks like enough.
That should do. This guy's gonna come down and just press on there. And then we're gonna wipe it all off, because there's definitely gonna be some excess. That looks pretty good.
Winding checks are on. You made a little
Yep.
pencil
So
mark.
we're going in between.
Yep.
Go in
Compare
between.
those two, Ponch.
Pro tip, alcohol wipes for right after.
Yep. Some people will go like adhesive remover or whatever else you want to pull that stuff off, but just need something. And then we'll just leave like the excess at the end of like the squeeze will be enough to put that winding check right on there. How's that fit? Pretty good?
Yep.
Why not?
Keep going. Yeah. Looks pretty good.
Just like that.
Not too bad.
Sheep ready. So, I'm one-handed.
Mm-hmm.
We stuck yet? Alright, things are drying. But now we gotta get our real seat to fit the rod blank. And so we're gonna take masking tape, build it up a little bit in 2 spots probably. So the diameter of this builds up a little bit to fit the inside of that. Bueno?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get it on the spine.
You might have to put more little.
Yep, right in there. So the very top of it.
Yeah, she'll need it. Yeah. Oh, Mochi.
Yeah, that's it. Do you want to mark it, Marky? So that we know this is our spine.
I like that one.
And that's
Sweet.
important to do right now because
Yeah, because your real seat has to sit that way, right? Actually, I just lied to you. It's gonna sit like that.
Winner! Found your apartment!
So it's gonna sit just like that. Yep. Because we're gonna have guides on the opposite side. The only thing in this stage is to get this stuff on nice and tight. Because this is gonna be your contact to the rod, right? Through the rod handle, through the real seat.
I'm so excited.
Real seat time.
Okay, so what's happening right there? There's some sort of
we agreed this is the rod's dirty
Oh,
little
yeah.
secret.
That
Dirty
the
little
hardener,
secret.
The hardener is what.
We also learned that Ponch wrapped 500 rods for a shop at one point in life, so that's fun.
Things you learn.
You gonna end in person?
We're still in school.
Who's that? Working 5 minute, right?
No.
Oh, you went 15?
Yeah. Don't worry. You got plenty of playtime.
This looks good though. Cool.
Yeah.
Just leave it in there, eh?
Yeah. Yep.
That went pretty snug.
Because it's just overlapping onto the blank, which is
That
good.
went super snug.
It's okay. It'll lubricate it. All right. Line up your line.
Yep. Coming all the way around
There you
to it.
go. Beauty, eh?
We're figuring out guide placement. You could figure it out on your own, but we have a factory rod right here, so we're gonna trust that Shimano did their research and figured it out themselves. What's up, Missy?
Be cool, man.
Be cool, bro. So we're just gonna copy. I mean, they're similar action rods, which is why we're gonna copy off this one. They're both a very moderate mod slow action, so we're gonna just copy this guide placement on the way down and see how it looks on this setup. I should probably fix that tip top since I'm working off of it, but it's pretty close. We're just checking out the guide placement to see when it flexes how it looks. I don't know. A little touchy there. Yeah, but like, look at everything.
Yeah. Get my favorite cup.
It's not too bad. Just like a little bit of touchy there. Alright, we're ready to wrap the guides on. So we have Ponch's setup, which he built. Thing of beauty.
This is
How old are we talking here, Ponch?
probably 30 years old.
30 years old. So he's been doing it for a little while, to say the least. But essentially it's just holding the rod And then we have the back end of it chucked up in this sewing machine motor. So we're working with, Ponch? What kind of motor we got?
Army surplus.
Army surplus, baby. Army surplus motor jimmied to a sewing machine pedal.
Yes, that's a
So that you can get your little spin rate going. And anything else we need to know?
So we can get this done in one day. We're deciding to do one color thread, and typically there will be a color preserver that you put on as well. We're going to skip that step because we're going to do straight black. Ponch is going to wrap a few. I'm going to try to wrap one or two. Matt's going to wrap the rest, and hopefully we can get it done tonight.
We are now wrapping the guides onto the blank. So we've figured out our guide placement. We got everything taped on. I taped it on with a little thinner piece of tape because I got to be able to wrap onto the guide first and then take that piece of tape off. We got some thread here and we're gonna go for it. Hopefully I don't blow this. But we're just gonna get it started nice and slow, nice and gentle like. Get it all tight. Put a few wraps on there and then cut our excess off. Like that. Everything's still nice and tight. And we're gonna wrap up onto the foot of the guide. Now our guide is secure. And so we'll remove our tape if we can. Come on, little Jimmy. Go on. Get it. Bang. Now we'll wrap down till we got, what, like an 1/8 of an inch left maybe. Find our finishing thread. Slide that into place. And then finish the wrap out. Just like that. Make sure we have a spot to put that piece of thread in before I go and cut it. Hopefully it's not the cleanest cut. Oh, we're in. Everything's still nice and tight. We're gonna pull that piece back through. Sink. And the final move. Little cut. Smooth her all out. Make sure she looks good. And just like that. Another guide. 3 down, 7 to go. So now all of our guides are on. Some of them are a little bit wonky, so we're going to look at our spine line that we got down there, right above the rail seat. And we're going to get everything nice and straight. I'm going to play with it while it's in this for a second, and then I'll take it off and get it nicey nice, my friend. So we swapped out our Army surplus motor with the sewing machine foot pedal for, what do we got here, Ponch? What's this, Jimmy? Another one?
It's just a rod drying motor.
Oh, this one's actually specific.
Yeah.
So it's just a very slow turning motor.
And I had to make a chuck for it
Chucky
to make it fit.
Yep. Got our line tie on here.
We want to make sure that we're Dude.
That noise we're going to be listening to all night.
Got some old 4-pound rock cod weights from when Ponch used to legally fish at, what, 600 feet?
Yes. You got any breath? Yeah.
High build.
Your epoxy flex coat is your finishing coat, and so it's gonna lock everything in. So you want to cover the threads all the way and then come off the threads onto the blank so that it seals everything nice and nice. Make sure you get enough on there so it's nice and built up. Might have to come back and touch these up a little. Like this one I think is a little bit light. So okay. Bring it up, Dave. It's so good.
Well, I think we did it. Thanks to Ponch and Matt. We've successfully wrapped a rod in one day, hopefully, fingers crossed. This will go all night, and then we'll check back in the morning. So next morning, it was spinning all night. We are dummying up the bottom to fit the butt cap.
Booty cap.
And that is the final piece.
All pieces of
Not too exciting.
Perfect. That's okay. We're just gonna give it a little squeeze on rotation.
black ball.
Whenever we mix epoxy or the one coat, after we're done, we leave the container and the stick around so we can test it to see if it's dry,
As opposed to,
touching the wrap
oh yeah, that makes
or
sense.
the epoxy. So
Duh. Now that you said that.
It's a duh, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much better.